Girls Diary. I'm not saying that's the theme song going forward, but I hope that was something. So, you see, before I do entries in general, even if it's just writing in an app privately on my phone, I always have a thought process and think to myself like, oh, this is a good idea, and that's a good idea. And then a lot of the times what happens is a piece of one of those ideas gets mentioned, and then everything else that was in my internal thought process would be delayed until like another opportunity, so to speak. And yeah, if you haven't noticed, even I myself struggle to realize what my point actually is while I'm talking a lot of the time. So my mouth could be moving, but for some reason, while my mouth is moving, my brain slows down, and it's just like, you were moving so much faster before I opened my mouth. What are you doing right now? Or you were moving so much faster before I put pen to paper, or before I put my thumbs to the keyboard. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but yeah, that's basically my brain in a nutshell. It moves fast when I guess when I'm not in writing mode, and then when I am in writing mode or in talking mode, it just slows and buffers, and it's just so convenient that way. A lot of the time, most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but it tends to do that. So with that being said, today's diary entry, I'm just gonna see what comes off the top of my head, and yeah. I guess I want to start this off by saying today that I'm, recording this entry. It was a bit of a mental health day. So not to brag or anything, but, and also to protect anonymity purposes and all that good stuff, I volunteer as a listener on Seven Cups presently. I'm hoping for this to be a long-term thing for me, because I'll be honest with you, I have struggled with longevity when it comes down to basically anything that I've done. So, hoping this thing will work, but so far so good. Yeah, so interestingly enough, the first venter, I guess you could say, I have ever spoken to, I'm still having ongoing contact with them simply because I offered. And yeah, I could just really relate to what this person was going through, and I figured, you know what, this could be a process for the both of us. It could be a symbiotic thing. So to speak. I mean, I have to follow the rules and that kind of thing. But yeah, I haven't seen any, what do you call it? I haven't seen any comments like, oh, you broke this rule, you broke that. I didn't see anything like that, so I can breathe for the time being. But yeah, going back on topic. Yeah. This person, I guess not to breach confidentiality. I really, really felt for what they were going through. I guess in a nutshell, I'll just say it was an interpersonal thing, and long story short, it has been pretty draining for them, and I can totally relate because for the majority of 2020, I've just been feeling like it was 2017 all over again, where my main focus was to emotionally recover from things not working out with somebody else. And yeah. I was obviously, well, just to give some kind of background, one of the rules in Seven Cups is that you cannot give advice. And so it was one of those things where it's just like, I have the option of providing examples of how I can cope through, interpersonal things with a venter, but I can't give advice. To be honest, even though I didn't have any advice to give, I still felt so bad, So my plan is, when this person messages me again on Seven Cups, which I'm totally open to, this person doesn't seem bothersome to me at all. I mean, not that that matters, I guess. Sorry, just a little tangent. As usual, it's Kaylee Lighthouse. Kaylee Lighthouse is all about the tangents. Anyway. Yeah, I was just referring to, for that split second, how I would be pretty annoying to my past friends, and unfortunately, my ex-therapists. I guess I was quite a bit of a handful in terms of, needing to be heard and needing to be empathized with and needing to be understood and needing to be guided, and I just had to come to accept not too long ago that, they just were not in the position to help my particular struggle, and it's okay. It's just, I can understand why someone would look at me back then and feel like, oh yeah, you are the reason why it didn't work out with your ex-friendships and, with your failed therapeutic connections. I can totally understand why someone, outside or maybe even inside the situation would feel that, but yeah, I just really do feel that my needs were probably way too complicated for, most, if not all of them to understand. And yeah, I was barking up the wrong tree. Many times, and I'm sad to admit that, but I guess with patience and extra introspection, I somehow got rewarded for that quiet time, and eventually I would find, messages and messengers of hope who better understood me, and, not to diss anybody prior to them, but, just saying it was tough to figure out Let's just put it that way. But with that being said, with this person that I was talking to on Seven Cups, I wanted to be sure that I didn't give off that energy of like, oh, you're so annoying, or why do you keep talking about this? I didn't want to be that person. And the thing is that even though the solution to me seemed obvious in the sense that this person clearly weighed it out as one of their options for what they can do going forward. Obviously, I can't push them or anything like that, right? That'd be way inappropriate. So it's just... So I guess what I was just trying to do was validate this person's feelings as best as I possibly could, and, hint at, as long as they're doing the most self-loving thing, they're good, they're set and everything will fall into place, so to speak, is the gist of what I was talking about in the chat room on Seven Cups with this person. I want to be really patient with this person because I always fear, for myself when I have conversations with other people that I need to rush to the point, or I need to rush to make sense so that I don't lose them per se, or that I don't make them impatient, or, I would always have that anxiety in conversations. Fear of boring people in general. But yeah, for me, when I had this conversation, while I've been having this conversation with this person on Seven Cups, I didn't feel bored. I just felt the same pain simply because I've been through, similar fears to them at a younger age, and I'm honestly still going through a similar situation as them as I speak. So yeah, I don't want to feel hurried or pushy when it comes to this person. I feel, again, not to be cocky or whatever, but I want to be the listener to them that I didn't necessarily have in the beginning, although I did have good listeners eventually, and I'm grateful for them, and I try to, thank God for them on a regular basis. Yeah. So yeah, just anticipating what they're going to say next, and I'm going to give examples about how I cope with, my own personal situation. Again, not to tell them what to do, but, to provide some kind of inspiration of, their next step forward, because obviously I can't tell this person what to do. That's inappropriate and, not allowed for obvious reasons. Well, for those who have ever been through therapy before, whether it's for a session, a handful of sessions, or maybe even a long-term commitment, y'all would understand what I'm saying. Yeah. I guess, speaking of, mental wellness, etc., I really found that as I was hanging out with my parents, like nearby, my mom was sitting in the living room with me, and my dad, I think, was having a late dinner in the dining room, and they were all like in view of the TV, and we were watching a very interesting commentary about some Studio Ghibli films and their the folklore that they could allegedly be based on, and it was just so interesting. And yeah, just seeing the mythos behind such such complex works of, art, if you will. Yeah, seeing the inspiration and having people theorize about, oh, where did this come from? Where did that come from? It just really provided such an escape emotionally, which is something that I've been desperate to find this whole year thus far. And for like a good 20, 30-ish minutes or so, I found that comfort and solace where it's just like, I can breathe. Mythology is my thing. It never gets old. And I was surprised that I finally found relief from emotional weight that I'm just too tired of carrying all the time. So that was really, really nice. It was like, oh my god, my heart has a vacation right now. This is great. So yeah, very mental wellness focused today. And yeah, we'll see what the focus is for another day, and whatever that focus is will be in the next entry. Hope this was something, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe, stay cozy, stay sincere to your beautiful self, and what am I, a bird?